to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends tell you something cool from history, and we are not qualified. I'm Morgan, joined by my beautiful co-host Emily.
Hey y'all!
How are you doing?
I'm well. I found watermelons on my vines. They're like 2 inches in diameter now.
Little baby watermelons.
Little baby watermelons. And I'm just out here vibing, waiting for school to start back. I am. We're surviving here in the Brady house.
Just getting through day by day.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, I got my daughter a new Fire Stick. Hers went out, so it was like an entire week of them having to share a TV. So we're doing better already.
Good. They each have their own TV now.
Right. So how are you, Morgan?
I'm well. Tomorrow, I'm going to a place in Nashville I've never been before. I'm going to the Country Music Hall of Fame for the first time.
Oh, jealous.
So, with a friend. And we're going to just make a little day of it. It's going to be fun.
Sounds so fun.
Yeah. I'll take pictures.
Please do. I feel like even though you live in that area, I don't spend enough time in Nashville. And I want to.
I agree with that. You should come up more often.
I will do my darndest.
Okay.
It's unfortunately not quite a day trip.
It's a little far for that.
So it's a little far, but we'll do what we can. Any reason I can find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if the reason's the podcast, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. That's a solid reason.
Absolutely. All right. Well, are you ready to start our skit?
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the shortest intros we've ever done.
Yeah, I think we got most of our talking out already earlier.
I think we did too. And I got tea instead of wine this week. So I'm not feeling as goofy.
Goosey.
Yeah. A little goosing. Just goosing. Just a little bit. All right, let's do it.
Good morning, Your Majesty. How are your travels going so far?
They've been simply wonderful. I've been getting so much inspiration from the island. I have about 10 songs I'm wanting to write.
Oh, that's splendid. Honolulu has so much to offer.
Oh, absolutely. I am in love with this land and the people on it. You know, I saw something beautiful today.
Oh, a bird or one of the amazing trees?
No, I saw 2 lovers giving the most impassioned goodbye I'd ever seen. It wrenched my heart in 2.
That sounds sad, Your Majesty.
No, not sad. They were filled with aloha. I could see it in their souls.
Ah, aloha. A beautiful thing to witness.
Yes, and it will be a beautiful song.
All right, Emily, this skit is covers a very, very small point of the person's life we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be discussing the last queen of Hawaii.
Wasn't that like not that long ago?
Uh-huh. It was like the late 1800s.
What?
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
So, I do want something I noticed. This episode is going to have some similarities to my last episode, Banana Republics.
Oh. Okay.
So, just so y'all are aware, I didn't realize that as I was starting to research, and then as I was getting into the big event that happened in the Queen's life, I was like, this is very reminiscent of the coups I talked about last week, so... that's not super great. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Also, before I get into this episode, I wanted you guys to know I am not Hawaiian. I don't speak Hawaiian. But I practiced. I literally looked up a pronunciation guide for Hawaiian. I practiced, I listened to examples. So I'm going to do my best to pronounce everything correctly. I know I'm not going to succeed. everywhere, but I've been alone in my house just saying noises to myself, practicing pronouncing Hawaiian. And if you guys don't know, Hawaiian, the language that Hawaiians speak, only has 12 letters. It's only like 4 or 5 consonants. The rest are vowels.
Oh,
So
that sounds hard.
And every vowel's pronounced. So I'm going to do my best.
I believe in you. The listeners believe in you.
Thank you.
We all believe in you.
Thank you. All right, so let's hop in. So before we start talking about the last queen of Hawaii, let's talk about the origin of the monarchy in Hawaii.
Okay.
So prior to the monarchy, Hawaii was a collective of different societies ruled by the high chiefs of specific islands. Like Maui had its own island, Kauai had its own island, Honolulu had its own, or Honolulu's on island, right? Is it? I think
how about this?
Honolulu's on the island of Hawaii.
Where is Honolulu? Oahu
Okay.
is on Oahu. Okay.
Okay.
All
Thank
that
you.
to get there. You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyway, each island had its own high chief.
Right.
And there are a lot of islands in Hawaii. But it was self-sufficient. It was very highly organized. Like they had their shit going. And then like war broke out between all the different islands. Things were very chaotic. And then one day, the future king of Hawaii, Kamehameha, is believed to have been born under Halley's Comet in 1758. And
Cool.
his birth was like foretold in a prophecy. And it was seemed to have been like very auspicious. Like, I didn't write it down specifically, but it was like the king of Hawaii will be born under a great bird with feathers of fire. And it was like a comet.
Okay.
Over his life, he became a great warrior. He apparently overturned the Naha stone in Hilo, Hawaii, which weighed like 2.5, 3.5 tons.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Apparently he overturned it because he's a great king.
Huh?
And the stone is still there.
Hold on. Bro just picked it up and like flipped it?
That's the legend. According to legend, he flipped it.
That's so heavy though.
Yeah, that's like 6,000 pounds. So,
Damn.
but he was a great king. So Kamehameha, with the help of Captain James Cook and his more advanced European weaponry, kind of conquered the islands of Hawaii, and they all fell under his rule. So he is the first king of Hawaii.
Okay.
He established a unified monarchy, which eventually became a constitutional monarchy in 1810.
Okay.
And he's actually still very highly respected in Hawaii. There's a Kamehameha, I have such a hard time saying his name, Kamehameha Day on June 11th. And he's got like several statues, and every June 11th, like they're covered in leis. Like he's very highly honored. He's seen as like bringing Hawaii out of its period of strife and war and like bringing peace to the land.
Right. Okay.
So this monarchy only lasted 83 years.
That is
Because it was
such a
established
short
in
period of time.
1810. But it accomplished a lot. It had its own constitution, formed treaties, had ambassadors, consulates across Europe and Asia. Also, apparently, it almost became part of the Japanese Empire in the 1880s.
What?
But I didn't see anything more about that in my research. Maybe there was like, possibly, not sure.
What?
And I guess it just kind of fell through.
What a different vibe Hawaii would have.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't.
If it like.
Yeah. Wasn't part of
Yeah.
like America now. It was part of Japan. Wow, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know there are a lot of Japanese people that do live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's kind of the origins of the monarchy. Our character today, the last queen of Hawaii, I'm going to do my best to pronounce her full name. She was born Lydia Lili'uokalani Wavehi Kamikaeha on September 2nd, 1838. So she was born in Oahu. Mm-hmm. And Oahu tradition at the time, there was like certain reverence to names. And the wife of the governor, the wife of the governor's name was Kina'u, she chose the infant's name It was just like their custom. And the infant's name had to commemorate an important event or occasion or something significant. And Kena'u had been suffering from an eye infection.
Oh.
So she was named, so Lili'u means smarting, Loloku means tearful, Walania means burning pain, and Kamehameha means sore eye. So she was named after an eye infection.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But she was typically called Lydia, which is her Christian name, or Lili'u, which is her, like, native first name. But for the purpose of this episode, I'll be calling her Lili'uokalani, because that's how she went down in history.
Okay.
And we'll get into why her name changed a little bit later. Lili'uokalani's parents were Ali'i and Alea Keo Hokalole. That was her mom.
Okay.
And Chief Caesar Kapa'akea. They were chiefs and they were also advisors to King Kamehameha III.
Okay.
So they were considered royal family. They were considered very high up in Hawaiian society at the time. And she had at least 6 biological siblings, and I'm only going to say their first names. James, David, Anna, Ka'imina, Oao, Miriam, and William Pitt. But, so there was this custom at the time where if a family had a lot of children, they would sometimes let their children be adopted by families that didn't have children or didn't have a lot of children. So Lili'uokalani was adopted by Ali'i Laura Konia, who was Kamehameha the first granddaughter, and Chief Abner Paki, because I only had one daughter, Bernice Pauahi. And the practice of the adoption is called hanai, or hanai. Again, I'm really trying. There's like different ways to pronounce things, depending on where it is in the word.
You're doing great.
So she was adopted by the king's granddaughter and her husband, and really, like, by her own account, she considered them her family. She didn't really consider her biological family as her family as much. By her own account, like, she didn't know them super well. They were akin to more distant relatives in just, like, the way that she grew up and stuff.
I could not imagine just letting my child go live with someone else. And I know it's like a whole different, like, culture and stuff. If I don't think I could do it. I don't know. That would be very difficult.
And she did later have a relationship with her siblings, it seems like.
Yeah.
I don't know what her relationship with her biological parents were, but she considered...
Yeah. Did they say why
Laura
they did that?
and
Like,
Abner.
what started that practice?
That was just something that happened at the time where families with a lot of children would let their children be adopted by families that didn't have a lot of children.
Huh.
It was just a custom.
I mean,
like, just from what I learn about later, that I'll talk about later, she at least had a relationship with 2 of her siblings.
Okay.
But she considered Laura and Abner her parents.
Yeah.
So when Lili'uokalani was 4, she started going to the Chief's Children's School, which is a royal boarding school. However, when she was 10, the school closed due to a measles outbreak.
Oh.
And actually, 10,000 people died in this outbreak, and most of them were native Hawaiians.
Oh, no.
It was a really, really bad epidemic. And her 3-year-old sister, Ka'imina Oao, who was adopted by the king, Kamehameha III, and Queen Kalama, she passed away as well.
Oh, no.
I know, it was really sad. I didn't really find a lot about her life as a child growing up in Hawaii. She was considered a princess, and I couldn't find anything about her growing up besides, like, that incident that happened at the school being closed and stuff. Jumping forward to her 24th birthday, she was scheduled to be married, but King Kamehameha IV asked her to postpone her wedding due to his son, the Crown Prince Albert Edward, passing away.
Oh.
And there's more to his name This is like the one name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce because there's like 36 letters.
Okay.
He was Albert Edward, more name.
Okay.
So 14 days later, her wedding was rescheduled and she married John Owen Dominus and lived with him and his mother in Washington Place. And that was built by John's father. And from what I see, they didn't have any children together. Lili'uokalani was a very talented musician and singer. She could play almost any piano music by sight. And she played guitar, auto harp, the zither. She composed and wrote lyrics. She wrote over 150 songs.
Wow.
And in 1866, she wrote Emileigh Hawaii, which was the country's national anthem until later.
Cool.
Which I'll get into a little bit. Yeah. So Lili'uokalani's brother, David Kalakaua, he became king in February of 1874. And I was trying to find information about why he became king. I couldn't find anything. But he ruled from 1874 to 1891. And at the time in Hawaii, the islands were like losing a lot of their culture because there was a lot of Christians coming in, like Christian missionaries, and they were kind of erasing the Hawaiian culture. But King Kalakaua brought back a lot of those Hawaiian customs that had been prohibited by the Christian church. Like the hula was forbidden, but he brought it back. And actually, this, I didn't write it down because it wasn't really relevant to Lili'uokalani, but I was reading about like the erasure of the Hawaiian culture. And actually, I think it was like the 1950s about then. It's about when Hawaii became a state. Less than 50 children spoke Native Hawaiian, like in the entire state. So there was a huge push to like get Hawaiian children like reintegrated back into Hawaiian culture and like speaking the language again.
Yeah, I'm so glad they did that.
Yeah, me too. Because it almost died out. But they were able to come back, and actually now they're like, now like signs are coming out that are like being created in Hawaii are like bilingual. So they'll have like English and Hawaiian language on the signs and stuff. So they're really trying to immerse Native Hawaiians back into their culture.
Great.
I know.
Yeah.
So King Kalakaua wrote Hawaii Pono'i, which replaced Lili'uokalani's song as the Hawaiian Kingdom's national anthem and is the state song to this day.
Cool.
Yeah. So when he became king, he named their brother William as his heir. But William died in April 9th, 1877. And the following day, King Kalakaua named Lili'uokalani as his heir.
Okay.
And he gave her the title Lili'uokalani.
Did you figure out what like the Uokalani meant?
I didn't see anything about what her name meant. Like what this title meant. It seemed like it was kind of a shortened version of her full name.
Right. And on the pictures, I'm kind of following along with you. They're siblings, right?
Yes.
You can absolutely tell.
Yeah.
Like one looks like the girl version of the, like vice versa. Like they just look like the same.
Yeah, they look very, very similar.
They
have like
definitely
very
related.
Similar. Like their eyebrows too. Like hers are a little softer, but like they have the same like arch and everything.
I literally scrolled and I went, those are siblings. Like just
Yeah. Yeah. So Lili'uokalani, like I said, she was a big songwriter. She loved writing songs, and she saw an impassioned goodbye. This is what our skit is about. In 1878, between a military colonel and his lover, while she was like touring Honolulu on horseback, and in a single afternoon, she wrote "Aloha Oe."
I love that song. I didn't know she wrote that.
I do too. She wrote it in 1878.
What? This song is that old?
When I was like researching this, I looked up and I saw a video of Bretta is playing this song with like some other Hawaiians, and it was just so beautiful. I love his voice.
I love that song.
But yeah, and it means like farewell to you or farewell to thee. Aloha. Oi. Yeah, she wrote it in an afternoon. Also, in 1878, she went to the U.S. for the first time.
Cool.
And in 1887, she attended Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee.
That sounds fun.
It was super fun for her, but it was the same year that there were some machinations going on in Hawaii, and not for the better.
Oh.
So my next section's called Capitalists Ruin Everything.
Rude.
So between 1826 and 1893, the United States officially recognized Hawaii as a sovereign nation, had all the things you do when you establish a relationship with a foreign country, like trade agreements, diplomacies, treaties, etc.
Yeah.
By this time, a lot of Westerners had vested interest in Hawaii's land, like sugar plantations, for example, were extremely profitable. And this is kind of where it's very similar to when I was talking about banana republics. Very similar situation. So on June 30th, 1887, the Honolulu Rifles, which was a group of non-native white soldiers who were part of the secret Hawaiian League, and other politicians in the Reform Party of the Hawaiian Kingdom, met with King Kalakaua and demanded he fire Walter Gibson, who was the head of the king's cabinet and was a strong supporter of the king. Could I find a reason, like, why? No. They just wanted more power for themselves.
Of course.
So the meeting was headed by Sanford Dole and Peter Cushman Jones, who was the president of the largest sugarcane plantation in Hawaii. And I was like, Dole?
The pineapple?
Dole. His cousin, James Dole, founded Hawaiian Pineapple Company, which would later become Dole Pineapple.
Oh, I've been there.
So Sanford and Peter Cushman Jones were like, hey, like, these are our demands. And the Hawaiian League owned a lot of property and controlled a lot of the wealth in Hawaii, namely from the sugar plantations.
Yeah.
And they wanted to keep in control of their wealth and property no matter what. So at gunpoint, they forced King Kalakaua to write a new constitution that the king signed on July 6, 1887, that would later be known as the Bayonet Constitution. And the main thing I could find about this, the reason they're doing this, is they wanted Hawaii to be annexed to the U.S. And I think you've spoken about it, but when a country is being annexed by another country, the other country's basically like taking possession of that country.
Yeah.
So the new constitution gave more power to the cabinet and the legislative branches of the government, and also gave more power to the capitalists.
Of course.
But this constitution was never officially ratified by the Hawaiian government. It was signed by the king, but it was never ratified.
See, that's why it's important to have multiple branches of a government.
Yes, I agree. I will say, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah. So in 1891, King Kalakaua died, and Lili'uokalani became queen. And she named her niece as her heir, because she didn't have any children either. And Lili'uokalani refused to abide by the Bayonet Constitution. She didn't think it was right. She disagreed with it fully. So one of the first things that she did when she became queen was tried to change the Bayonet Constitution, which again it's not even legal.
Yeah.
And she tried to restore power to the native Hawaiians and the monarchy, which pissed off all the plantation owners. They were like, no, our power that's not even real is being taken away from us. This episode is going to make you a little mad. I'm sorry. So in January of 1893, the quote Committee of Safety, it was a bunch of white sugar planters and businessmen, sought the help of John L. Stevens, who's the U.S. minister to Hawaii. And they're like, hey, Mr. Stevens, we want to overthrow the government. And we want to annex Hawaii to the U.S. And he was like, that's a great idea.
What the fuck?
Stevens had U.S. Marines come in and, like, station their warships, like, within proximity to, like, Hawaiian government buildings. And we're like, look at our show of force. And Lili'uokalani was like, okay, this is bad. This looks really bad.
Yeah.
I don't want war to break out and my people to be killed.
Yeah.
So she surrendered. And the Committee of Safety, I'm just scare quotes,
Committee of Safety.
I know.
Just bring out the guns.
They created a provisional government. And Stevens was like, yep, this is legit. And now these people have all the power. And because I'm a diplomat, I can speak on behalf of the entire U.S. Congress. That's not true. He didn't have that power. But they did it anyway.
Oh, my God.
They were literally violating international law. While doing this, it was majorly illegal. And then the Committee of Safety established Sanford B. Dole as the president of the Provisional Government of Hawaii and signed an annexation treaty that was given by the U.S. President Benjamin Harrison. And all of this was done without congressional approval. It was all illegal.
I am speechless. Like, what the fuck? They're just signing shit. Like, they're just making it up.
They literally are doing whatever the fuck they want. And they're like, it's fine.
Oh, my God.
So Lili'uokalani created a statement. I'm going to read. It's not super long, but I thought that what she wrote was extremely powerful. So this is all quoted by her in a written statement. I, Lili'uokalani, by the grace of God and under the Constitution of the Hawaiian Kingdom, Queen, do hereby solemnly protest against any and all acts done against myself and the constitutional government of the Hawaiian Kingdom by certain persons claiming to have established a provisional government of and for this kingdom. That I yield to the superior force of the United States of America, whose minister plenipotentiary, His Excellency John L. Stevens, has caused United States troops to be landed at Honolulu and declared that he would support the provisional government. Now, to avoid any collision of armed forces and perhaps the loss of life, I do this under protest and impelled by said force yield my authority until such time as the government of the United States shall, upon facts being presented to it, undo the action of its representatives and reinstate me in the authority which I claim as a constitutional sovereign of the Hawaiian Islands.
Bam. And she's like, every bit of it.
Absolutely. She knew exactly what was going on. She was like, I'm going to do this. I'm being coerced into doing this. And I'm going to wait until the president of the U.S. gets their shit together and helps me reinstate my power as a rightful ruler of Hawaii.
Fuck.
So according to the kingdomofhawaii.org, Hawaii never officially surrendered to the U.S. Lili'uokalani was coerced into stepping down for her and her people's safety. Like she said, she was like, I don't want my people to be killed for this.
Yeah.
But she never did anything of her own free will. And on February 1st, 1893, Stevens flew the U.S. flag in Honolulu and declared Hawaii was now a U.S. protectorate.
Oh my
which
God.
It was not. So after the coup, in 1893, Grover Cleveland was elected president, and he was very anti-imperialist. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to restore Hawaii's sovereignty with Lili'uokalani on the throne again.
Yeah.
He was like, this is bullshit. What they did was bullshit. It was super illegal. And he tried.
Yeah.
He sent, the U.S. military back to Hawaii to, try to undo the damage. He also organized an official investigation into the shenanigans that happened. I don't really know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
The lead investigator was Congressman James Blunt, and Blunt found oodles of evidence of coercion, threats, and conspiracy that occurred in this illegal coup. Only the landowners wanted this whole thing to happen. None of the native Hawaiians, wanted any of this. No. It was all the plantation owners. It was very, very unpopular. So Cleveland dismissed Stevens as minister, and then the U.S. military commander that, brought all the ships into Hawaii to intimidate the Hawaiians was ordered to resign. The president then started working with Lili'uokalani to right all the wrongs that had occurred. And he called everything that happened an act of war.
It was. Holy shit. They just came on over and took an entire country.
Yeah.
It's
illegal.
war. That's war. That's
Yeah.
wow.
So he cited the law. He cited the law of nations, which states a nation can't invade another sovereign nation's territory without just cause, and that countries can't interfere or harm another country's governments. This was like an international law.
All of that happened. All of it.
And the U.S. Constitution says that it's the president's job to handle foreign relations on behalf of the U.S. So when Grover Cleveland decried the coup, he was like, this is legal as fuck. The provisional government of Hawaii was like, hey, jerk, we're here fair and square. They were not.
No.
And we're continuing to try to annex Hawaii to the U.S. They lobbied for Senator John Morgan in the Committee of Foreign Relations to investigate the coup on their behalf and basically prove they didn't do anything wrong.
Oh my God.
This did not work.
No.
They did. So there was like a hearing. There was a trial. Well, not like a trial, but there was like an investigative hearing. And the provisional government did downplay the involvement of like the U.S. government within the coup. But we're not able to justify their actions, and we're not able to convince 2/3 of the Senate to move for annexation. Because the Senate was like, this is hella illegal.
Yeah.
And then after all of this, the provisional government then declared itself the Republic of Hawaii on July 4th, 1894, and tried again for annexation, which again did not work.
Dude, oh my God. Your greed is showing. Come on.
This whole thing is so messy, and I feel so bad for the entire kingdom of Hawaii at this point. So Albert Willis, after Stevens was let go, he was the new U.S. minister to Hawaii under Grover Cleveland and was trying to negotiate Lili'uokalani's restoration. So one term that he had presented was that if she went back on the throne, she wouldn't go after the Committee of Safety and other co-conspirators in the coup.
Okay.
That was like one of his conditions. And she was like, nah.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go the fuck after them.
So one account said that she demanded them all to be beheaded. But according to her own autobiography, she didn't want them dead. She didn't want them killed, but she wanted them to face justice.
Understandable. She seems like the level-headed kind of person to demand that. To say...
And it's totally reasonable. These people illegally overthrew her government. And then they're like, oh, well, you can be queen again, but you can't go after them. And she was like, fuck no. They literally overthrew me by force. They coerced me to step down on threat of harming my citizens. They deserve to go to jail or something.
Yeah, something.
Things are about to get even messier. So negotiations fell apart. So Willis and Cleveland were like, hey, you know what we should do? We should plan a fake coup to get the provisional government to step down. Because if we like show up with a show of force, they'll panic and flee, and then we can put Lili'uokalani back on the throne. So...
Oh, God.
This is so messy.
So they're trying to trick them with their own tricks?
Yes. So they had the Marines like surround Hawaii and make it look like the Marines were going to invade. But Sanford Dole knew the president couldn't declare an act of war like this without congressional approval. Because if the president's going to declare war, it has to be approved by Congress.
Oh, so they knew the laws the whole time? Okay.
And didn't give a shit about it. Yeah.
Only when it's convenient for them.
Yeah. And at this time, other countries were allying with Hawaii, like Great Britain and Japan. And they were, like, taking this super seriously. And they even sent their own navies to come in and, like, protect their investments and interests in Hawaiian land. Yeah. So finally, the invasion was outed as a hoax. And Dole remained in power until 1898.
Oh, my God.
So, like, 5 more years. Kind of going back in time a little bit.
Okay.
To January of 1895, there was a counter-revolution to restore Lili'uokalani to the throne, led by Robert Wilcox, who was born in Hawaii. He wasn't native, but he was born there. And the coup failed, and Wilcox was imprisoned. He was originally sentenced to death, but was eventually pardoned and even served in Congress as Hawaii's territorial delegate later.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. He tried to start a counter-revolution, was imprisoned, sentenced to death, and then became the territorial delegate later.
I mean, like, if you can come back from that, good on you, right, buddy.
Lili'uokalani was accused of having prior knowledge to this counter-revolution.
Oh.
She was fined $5,000.
Holy shit, in 1895?
Uh-huh.
Hold on.
Are you going to do the conversion?
Yeah. 1895. $187,000.
That's ridiculous.
So much money.
And she was sentenced to 5 years of hard labor.
What?
But this was changed to house arrest in Iolani Palace.
Uh-huh.
She was under house arrest for 9 months at Iolani Palace, and then went back to Washington Place, which was her like home, and was under house arrest for 5 more months.
Oh my God.
So over a year she was imprisoned on house arrest. But while she was in prison, she published anonymous songs in a Hawaiian language newspaper to communicate secret messages to her people.
What?
Yeah.
She's such a badass.
I know. So I'm going to try to say the name of this song in Hawaiian. One was Mai Wakenekona Iolani Hale, which means from Washington Place to Ione Palace. Or Ione Palace.
Wow.
And she was like talking about like what she was going through, what she was doing, and just like being able to communicate with her people.
Wow, that's so fucking cool. And you know what? I bet none of the like provisional government caught on, because none of those bitches even offered to learn Hawaiian.
No, not at all.
No.
So, unfortunately, after the attempted coup in 1895, Lili'uokalani was forced to officially abdicate her claims to the throne in exchange for the release of her supporters who had been imprisoned.
Aww.
So these prisoners were threatened with death by firing squad if she did not officially abdicate her throne. It's awful.
I hate these people.
I do too. So later, Lili'uokalani said that she would have rather died than abdicate.
Yeah.
But she didn't want to sacrifice her supporters.
It wasn't, yeah, I feel like she would have sacrificed herself. She wasn't going to sacrifice somebody else's life.
Especially not her people. She wouldn't have done that.
No.
So on July 7th, 1898, President McKinley, there's a new president, signed the Newlands Joint Resolution during the Spanish-American War, which annexed Hawaii to the U.S. He technically couldn't do this, as joint resolutions could only be used to handle domestic issues, not annexing sovereign nations.
Yeah. It's like, and we're throwing this in here too. Just,
Yeah.
Overlook that. Sign here.
And I don't know if it was because this was like during the middle of the Spanish-American War, and the U.S. like had a position in the Philippines, so I wasn't sure if he was like doing this to like try to gain more territory. I'm not really sure.
Right.
But this whole thing kicked off a debate within Congress, and Representative Thomas Henry Ball said, like, y'all, this is hella illegal. We cannot go along with this. What is wrong with y'all? And when McKinley signed this joint resolution, the provisional government was like, yes, we are the official government of Hawaii, and we accept this document, and we'll give you what we have. Again, none of this was done legitly. Like, all of this was done illegally. This was a quote from the kingdomofhawaii.org. You could definitely tell what the authors of this website, what their opinions are. So this is, again, a little bit of a long quote, but they summarized this way more effectively than I could have. Quote, immediately after the supposed annexation of Hawaii by U.S. Congress's joint resolution, the self-declared Republic of Hawaii, having been so self-declared by citizens of the United States who retained their U.S. citizenship while simultaneously supposedly creating, maintaining, and delivering to the United States an entirely new nation out of whole cloth, ceded sovereignty of Hawaii and the Hawaiian Islands to the United States, including 1,800,000 acres of crown, government, and public lands of the Kingdom of Hawaii without the consent of or compensation to the native Hawaiian people or their ancient and rightful sovereign government.
Yeah. Every day I get a little tiny bit less patriotic about the shit we did in the past.
And like what's so frustrating is that there were people that were trying to correct this or stop it from happening.
Applauds to them.
But it didn't change anything. And on April 30th, 1900, McKinley signed the Organic Act, which declared Hawaii a territory of the U.S. and like installed a whole new government. And Hawaii eventually became the 50th U.S. state on August 21st, 1959. It wasn't until 1993 when President Bill Clinton signed Public Law 103-150 on the 100th anniversary of the original coup that the U.S. government officially recognized and apologized for everything that happened. And we're like, yeah, everything that happened to Hawaii was like super illegal, and the Native Hawaiians really suffered from this section. But what can you do?
Wow. Well, okay. I am glad that somebody apologized for it. Was it, 100 years too late? Of course it was, but it's better late than never. And hopefully we have taken, like you said earlier, steps to kind of restoring at least the culture that was stolen from them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So back to Lili'uokalani, just to finish out everything with her. In 1909, she created the Lili'uokalani Trust, which is that website that you have the pictures to. That's a website that was formed from her trust, which sought to help Native Hawaiian orphans.
Oh.
In 1911, she extended the program to help all poor children in Hawaii, but to give preference like Native Hawaiian children. This trust is so expansive. It continues to this day to help children in Hawaii. And in 2020, it allocated $40 million in child services.
Holy shit.
Started in 1909. And this trust is still actively helping children in Hawaii.
Wow.
I know.
Good for her.
I know. She was so dedicated to her people. She, just reading her story, she was so in love with her culture and the people and, expressed it through the music that she wrote and was really, tried to fight for her people.
She did. She seems amazing.
Yeah. On November 11th, 1917, Lili'uokalani died from a stroke in her home at Washington Place. Apparently, on the first day of her funeral procession, at midnight, it rained, and her body was being taken from Washington Place to Iolani Palace. As her body was got to Iolani Palace, it started thundering, and this was seen as auspicious. It's called a good ho'aialona, or omen.
Okay.
So it was a good thing. And the following midnight, her body was taken back to Kauai'aho Church and remained there for 7 days. People came to pay their respects to her. And after that, she was taken and laid to rest at the Royal Mausoleum at Mauna Ala.
Wow.
And that is the story of the last queen of Hawaii.
She seems like such a badass. Just she didn't, I don't know, where everything that happened to her, I feel like she took it with grace and did everything with a level head. And that was a lot of shit that happened.
She was very angry.
Yeah.
And she let her anger be known, but she didn't use it to make rash decisions or act impulsively.
Which is a sign of a good leader, so they should have left her alone.
I know. This whole thing just... I had no idea. I just knew, she was the last queen. I knew something happened to her government, and eventually Hawaii became a state. I had no idea about, the details of what happened, and it's so infuriating.
I knew Because I've seen pictures of the palace before. It's really cool, by the way.
It's beautiful. It's still there.
I do remember that, like, the palace wasn't very old when she came into her power. And she was only in power for a handful of years, right?
Yeah, she became queen in 1891. And she was forced to abdicate. Like, she surrendered in 1893. And then she was forced to abdicate in 1895.
Yeah.
So she was only, like, officially ruled for 2 years.
Wow. So, yeah, I remember that, like, you know, something happened. She wasn't in power for very long, and it got forcefully yanked from her. But I didn't know the, like, details. And this is just... Can we just leave everyone alone? Like, all nations.
Leave sovereign nations alone. Leave her alone.
Unless they ask for help. Mind your own. Mind your own. I hate
So I'm going
greed.
to link you another website that just has a couple more pictures. Some are the same, some are a little different.
Okay.
But this was another source. So a lot of the information I got is from onipa'a.org. And I think I read what onipa'a means. It means like...
She looks very regal. And I bet she's
so regal.
Very hot in all those layers in Hawaii.
In Hawaii, yeah. She has her own autobiography called Hawaii Story about Hawaii's Queen. And there's, as you go through the website I just sent you, it's the same website, it's just a different page. There's photos of the letter that she sent.
Oh.
And there's another one of her, like, later in her life, and one of her funeral while she was at Lili'uokalani Palace. And it's just like this room, it's this gorgeous like Victorian style room filled with like just to the brim with flowers.
Oh, they're so beautiful.
And her casket is in the middle. And I mean, you can see all the like the leis like draping.
Oh my God.
everywhere.
Do you know, she died. The last queen of Hawaii died after the Titanic sank.
That's crazy to think about.
I know.
Yeah, that's her life.
I love it.
I think she's a super cool lady, and it's super tragic about what happened to her and Hawaii's monarchy.
On behalf of ill-equipped history, we should this country should have left y'all alone.
I agree. They were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, doing their own thing. They weren't hurting anyone. They were happy. They were successful. And then frickin' stupid capitalists had to come in and be like, actually, this place is ours now. Ta-ta.
I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do too. And as I was reading this, I was like, I already covered banana republics and all the coups that happened because plantation owners wanted to seize control of the government, and this exact shit is still happening.
Oh my God, you matched
just
yourself.
on the other side of the continent.
Ugh. Ugh.
Mm-hmm. So, rest in peace and greatness, Lili'uokalani.
Yes, absolutely. You should have been the queen all along.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like, her brother was great. She was great. I bet her niece would have been great. Like,
yeah.
It's just...
Yeah, I did see that, like, her successor, her niece, like, in the link you sent me, she died at, like, 23.
She died super young.
Wow. Well, I mean, anything could have killed you back then, so.
Yeah, it was the 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Just having kids could have killed you. Getting a cold could have killed you. The eye infection could have killed you.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, should we do socials?
Let's do socials.
Let's do socials. Okay. You can find us on Facebook,
Ill-Equipped History podcast group and page.
TikTok,
At Ill-Equipped History.
Instagram,
At Ill-Equipped History.
Gmail,
ill-equippedhistory@gmail.com.
YouTube.
Ill-Equipped History is the name of our channel.
Yeah. And Patreon.
patreon.com/illequippedhistory. Join for $5 a month and you get stickers and a shout out and bonus episodes.
Yeah, and more of our lovely voices.
Yeah.
And
we are melodious.
And we're also a lot more unhinged on the Patreon episodes.
We get real loosey-goosey.
Yeah, super goosey, guys. Super goosey. And I got a message from one of our Patreon listeners, and he was like, he said he was hooked in the Diana episode.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
that episode is... Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think about it often.
I think that's the only one where we were both, like, crying very hard.
Oh, my God. Oh, with her sons. Oh, I can't think about it.
No, I can't either. I'll start crying again. I know.
Oh, poor
Glad
her.
you're enjoying the bonus episodes.
Yeah. And we're going to have a new one coming up soon, so...
We should probably get on that.
We should probably pick one and research that.
If anyone has any ideas, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah, seriously. Chris and Drew, send us some, since you're the newest member, send us some ideas.
Yeah, we've already gotten Sarah and Shelby to send us some ideas too, so
yeah,
it's y'all's turn.
Yeah. Okay, so included in the $5 a month, you can send us ideas.
For what stuff you want to know about.
Yeah. What do you want to learn? We'll tell you about it.
Because we're just picking random fucking topics.
Yeah.
Like, we're just like, do you want to cover, like, inventions? Oh, yeah, sure.
Literally, the Diana one, not only was it suggested to us, but, like, I found the book in the free bin at McKay's, and I was like, I guess we're covering this. Like,
and I was like, sounds good.
Sounds good.
I know. We covered New Orleans and Savannah because Emily had recently gone to both of those places.
Yeah. Turns out I travel more than I think I do.
Yeah. It's just for like a day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get to all
like anything.
We drove 5 hours to stay a day and a half just to drive 5 hours back. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. We're taking the boat this weekend, or not. Well, I guess by the time this comes out, it will have passed, but in like a week and a half, we're just going to take the boat up and stay in a floating house on Norris Lake, and that's a couple-hour drive for us.
Oh, there you go. That's just
be on a different lake. We do have friends. We do have friends up there, so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's for a reason. So, should, I guess, if you're thinking about overthrowing a government just because you want more money, don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't. Do you have any parting thoughts, Morgan?
Let your passion shine and let life influence you to write cultural icon and staples like Aloha Oi.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. You know that song's only like a minute and a half long.
Are you serious?
Yeah. There's like 6 lines to the whole thing.
Well, it's fucking good. So...
It's amazing. I listened to it twice by 2 different singers. Yeah,
nice.
It's only a minute and a half. It's
yeah,
go listen to I cannot pronounce his last name without looking at it, but Is. Go listen to him sing it.
Oh, is he the one that sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
Yeah.
Oh, such a good version. Oh my god. Okay, you're right. Yes.
He's
okay.
Such a great voice.
We're gonna go do that.
Yeah. Okay, bye.